podcasting in this little pod. They say never get into a caravan with a stranger, but here.
Well, I'm not a stranger. I am Sam Schneider. That's right. I am BadBeard. This is my show. We are at X Games final day, Ventura 2024. And I'm here with Jenise.
Hello. Should we sit closer? I feel like there's like this like weird space in between us. Like,
room for Jesus.
Oh, in my head I was thinking like a ghost. I was like, there's a ghost here. Like we're in a haunted mansion.
I got your camera already framed up, so don't make it hard for my edit. Yeah.
Hey,
That's it. So
I didn't see you.
Yeah, and then this is our wide. And then that's a me.
Wow. I'm like staring at all these cameras, but I didn't process the two over there. I'm like just right here. I'm like, look. Okay, cool. You know what you're doing.
Sometimes. Well, and so that's how me and Jenise met. We have our cool media credentials here at X Games. And while I wander and try to poach different guests, some of us find folks meet in the media center. And so I saw her live streaming yesterday on Twitch. And so, because I'm trying to learn and expand my brand, I had to ask and learn more.
Yeah.
So we met, and I said, come on down, let's do a show.
Let's do a show.
So who are you?
My name is Jenise Spiteri. I am a professional snowboarder. I competed in the Beijing Olympics 2 years ago.
Oh.
I actually competed for the country of Malta, which is where my dad's family is from, and I was their first ever snowboarder to compete in the Olympics, and I carried the flag out. And
Cool.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
You know, it's a funny story though, is that the Chinese alphabet, Malta is like Ma is, I guess, maybe their first vowel. So after Greece always leads the way to opening ceremonies. And then I was the first one out. And so like it starts, they hand me the flag and I'm just like sent out, and you like walk through this tunnel so you don't see anything. You got these bright lights and then you come out this tunnel. I thought the flag bearer like waves the flag and stuff. So I do the whole thing and I'm like, I'm running side to side. I'm doing spins. I'm like waving over my head. I'm like, woo, I'm waving to people. And then we finish the thing. I sit in the bleachers and I get to watch the rest of the countries. And the rest of the flag bearer walks out like.
Oh, people are just, Malta's hype.
Super serious. But I thought that's what you were supposed
How many people were you walking with?
It was me and my coach and then a lady from the Olympic Committee. That was it. So it was literally just me. And I thought that's what you do. And then people afterwards on the internet, they're like, oh my God, we loved her energy. She was.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And then I was like, I guess it's good I didn't know that that's not what I was supposed to do, because I wouldn't have done it if I had known. But yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, I have a flag here. We can, give it a go after.
Yeah. If you got a poll, I can really show you the techniques of it.
I got a poll. We can make it work for sure. So how did the Olympics go for you? What was that experience?
Everyone's always very disappointed by this answer. It was not what I expected or hoped for. And that's kind of because we got that COVID Olympics situation.
Oh, shit.
So in the 10 years, there was a good 10 years of my snowboarding that was like my prime focus was to like qualify for the Olympics. And during that time, I'm visualizing how it's going to be. And like, I see myself, I finish my run and my parents are standing there and I hug them and they get to like bask in that moment and like share it with me. And then in the fall, right before the Olympics, they were like, okay, so nobody's going to be allowed to come to China. No family, no friends, nothing. And like, that was the first like nail in the coffin of like, wait, my family doesn't get to be there with me. That's like, this was supposed to be this
is our moment. Yeah, 10 years.
After all this, and they, they'd seen all the work and all the sacrifices, all that time. And so that was super disappointing. And then we weren't allowed to stay for the full games. We had to leave China within 48 hours of our event finishing. And like to get to the airport, we had to have like 10 hours to get to the airport. We were like 2 hours away from the airport, but they gave us a window of 10 hours. So I spent so long in the airport leaving. But because of that, it was literally just the day after I competed, basically, I had to leave. And so I was back home in California with my parents in a restaurant, like watching the Olympics on.
Oh, no.
I'm like, I'm supposed to be there right now. Like, it's so weird. So didn't get to go to closing ceremonies. The athletes who competed in the second week, they didn't get to go to opening ceremonies. So that we were getting COVID tested every day. And like, so there was a stress every day of like, if this test ever comes back positive, I'm out. Yeah. And so we didn't really get to hang out there. All that you hear about the athletes like partying in the Olympic Village and hanging out with each other and,
tender swiping.
Yeah, couldn't do any of that because everybody was so scared that like you couldn't risk any sort of chance of getting kicked out of the Olympics. So it was really just like, it was like stress, 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 go compete, leave. Yeah. And so I have a super long answer of, it wasn't what I expected it to be. And I'm still trying to deal with the like acceptance of things. Sometimes when you look forward to something for so long, it doesn't actually shape up to what you pictured it being, and then learning how to like accept that and still appreciate having that experience for what it was.
Oh, for sure. Well, at least you have the flag memory.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty good one to take with you. That is such a bummer to spend so much time into something, and so that's how I feel about some of those folks that like will take it all the way up until and then have an injury or something like that. That's devastating, because sometimes given their age, they're like, and that was the last shot for that. But yeah, acceptance is a big thing. You got to be able to roll with the punches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of with anything in life. There's so many things that, like, everybody has something that's in their lane that they're like looking forward to or working towards, and then like either they don't get it or it happens, but it's not how they pictured it would be. And yeah, like it's really natural to just be super disappointed in that thing you achieve, and you're like, I'm supposed to be stoked on this. Like, I finally got that thing I want. I'm supposed to be stoked. I'm supposed to be hyped. But I feel bad instead, and I don't feel excited or proud. And one, it's okay to feel that way, because a lot of people actually do feel that way. I hear about actors who will win an Oscar, and you think when I win that Oscar, I'm gonna be so hyped, and they'll say, yeah, I won the Oscar, and then the next day I just woke up and I was like, oh, like nothing changed. Like, my life didn't like magically become Technicolor. It's like just the same, nothing changed. And so realizing a lot of people, you don't have this magical transformation that you think you're going to have once you achieve that thing. And it's okay to feel that way, because a lot of people do feel that way and they just don't talk about it.
Well, so I caught just a bit of your goodbye on your Twitch. And so I heard you saying some of these similar sentiments. Is that a big part of your ethos, your program that you share with your audience? Like, how does that work? Are you interacting with these individuals?
Yeah, I try to have, a pretty one-on-one relationship with...
Twitch is just a streaming platform that's just always on. It's always live.
Yeah, you can choose to be live whenever you want. It was primarily like a gaming platform, and now more people are getting to do some like other stuff. They call it IRL, where you go like out into the real world in real life, and you go... Yeah, and so walking around and like showing things, and I something that I've always wanted to do with snowboarding, because I've made YouTube videos of my whole snowboarding journey, because I would see that people at home would see X Games. You watch X Games on TV for 2 days, you see the athletes compete, and that's it. But like, you don't know what it was like for the athlete to travel there. What are they eating in the athlete lounge? Like, what are they doing afterwards? Like, are they hanging out? Are they going to the beach? What do they do? And so
they're at the Crown Plaza. I was there.
I was at the Crown Plaza. Athletes had some fun last night. But like, I wanted to be able to show people at home, this is everything else that's part of the competition. It's not just the 3 minutes that we get on the course. It's, the traveling, experiencing a new place, do this. And so I really want to give people that one-on-one connection to actually know what it's like in this life as an athlete. And so I think that's a cool thing about Twitch too, is that because Twitch is live, when I'm carrying that camera, it's like they're seeing everything. I'm not just editing out like the bits I think are interesting. Like, they're seeing every interaction.
Well, it's a big course. They're just getting a lot of walking,
talking to people, trying snacks.
Yeah. Well, so that's your experience. So you've been to the Olympics. Did you ever do Winter X Games?
No. So what's interesting actually is that X Games, have you heard about this X Games League? Mm-hmm. This league situation that they're making is going to provide a way for like athletes to like qualify into X Games kind of, and like earn a spot through wild card or like self petitioning for someone to draft you. Yeah. Because in the past, like X Games just chooses who they want to go, and it's not even necessarily the top in the rankings. They'll take top personality with top ranking, like someone who is like the big following and they're, whatever.
Political.
Yeah. And there was no way to like put yourself out there unless you had an agent. If you had a sports agent, they would be the ones hitting up X Games saying, hey, we need to get Sarah in the event. We got to get Sarah in the event.
Got to get Jenise.
Yeah. And so if you don't have that and there's no way to qualify, and like snowboarding halfpipe in the X Games, it's usually only 6 people. So it's like, it's harder to get into X Games than the Olympics.
Yeah.
But so now with the league, I'm like, do I get back into that zone of competing? It would be cool to I always wanted to do X.
Well, so you're still actively snowboarding. Are you training, or is it just a casual?
Yeah, I'm not training pipe anymore. It's super hard to do half pipe. The super pipe is really difficult and expensive to build, and so there's only a few of them in the world. And what ends up happening is in October, the only place to train is the half pipe in Soesvie, Switzerland, and they charge $3,000 a week just to go into the half pipe. And then you got to pay your coaches and your coaches' accommodation and your own accommodation and food. And so to go to like a 3-week training camp in Switzerland, you're spending $15,000. And you don't have a choice, because if you don't go there, there's nowhere else to train. So half pipe is super difficult to do, especially if you don't have like big financial backing. So what I'm doing now is I'm doing rail jams, I'm doing bank slalom races, kind of more fun stuff that I can enjoy, make some money doing, and not have to like put all my savings into.
Maintaining your sponsorships and the things that you developed on the path to the Olympics?
Yeah. Some of the companies that I've been talking to lately, I have told them I'm trying to move into that like personality side of things as well, like to not get their expectations up, like, hey, like I'm not seriously doing half pipe, I'm doing rail jams, I'm doing fun stuff, but I'm making media content and I'm being a face and being a personality
in the community. Yeah.
I'm like, I want to be involved in the community, but more on the side of bridging that gap of like relating the sport to the viewer and
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think that's my experience as well, and why I'm here, because I am not an athlete. I am certainly capable of many things, but you won't catch me on the super pipe or out in the
those dirt jumps that are like 40 feet tall,
Yeah. No, but with my show and the experience that I've had with it is that I find myself in a lot of unique places. I get a lot of great, interesting friends. I get to meet people like you, and so it's been at least my experience and my my opportunity to then share with my audience as it grows. I have a community. It's here, there, everywhere, but starting this new channel and figuring it out along the way has been fun, because everybody's doing something. This is currently what I'm doing. So,
yeah. How are you like doing this?
Well, production's my background. I have over a decade experience with my production company, BadBeard, and it started as a media company producing commercial, video, photo, shooting for XGAMES, OEMs like Indian, Harley, races, lots of music videos. And so when I put this together, doing stunt work in Atlanta that I'm doing now and pursuing that, we had that strike. So during the strike, I wanted to do something. I had some free time, and so we put the show together, and with the background in production, I wanted to do it like this. So
do you take this with you?
This was a fun surprise. So this is a Happier Camper, and they are based in Los Angeles, California. I have a studio in Atlanta that I shoot in, and then I equally have a trailer that I bring to different events. I was not going to bring that all the way across the country, so I put my stuff in the suitcase and then flew over here and then hit Google, and I said, cool custom RV Los Angeles. They popped up. Called. I said, hey, you can call me crazy, but I see your rigs. They look pretty cool. You want to go to XGAMES? And they're like, yeah. And so Diego, who's coming, he runs their events, is actually heading back up here, and so they dropped it off. They're gonna pick it up.
Oh, wow.
It worked out perfect that it's just so freaking vibey and cute.
It is. It's very cute. They can't see the outside of it, but it's very cute on the outside.
It is very cute. For those listening at home, it's a lovely mustard color, but it's been working out great and been a lot of fun. It's interesting being here representing myself, placement being what it is, and then the schedules that everybody has. Finding people to talk to, such as yourself, is just like, one-man band. You're just kind of like, hey, you want to talk? And they're like, no. But
yeah, I have some content that I've been wanting to make with some athletes, and it is hard because people are running around from one thing to another, and then when they are out in the crowd, like I am friends with a few of the athletes, and they're down to do the stuff I want to film with them, but as soon as they come out into the open, it's like swarmed with photos and autographs and this and that, and so it is like hard to find those moments of like, hey, like let's get something filmed. But it's fun. The excitement and chaos and energy of X Games is kind of what this is all about. There's like something going on at any moment.
Every direction, yeah. There's a lot of little ants running around. So as you continue to develop your brand and your channel and this personality, what are your next steps? I heard you're acting in Los Angeles. How's that all work together?
Yeah, it's what's kind of funny is I grew up acting, and I'd always wanted to move to LA to pursue acting more seriously. And then when I found snowboarding, I was 17. I'm like, all right, like pursue a career, try to become a professional snowboarder, or like stick with acting. And I was like, I can always come be like the mom in a sitcom, but like my window for snowboarding is right now. I'm at the tail end. Like nobody else started snowboarding at 17 and went to the Olympics. Fact check me. I don't think anyone's actually.
Nope, I just checked. You're correct.
And so I was late in the game, and I had to like hustle my butt off just to make it happen when I did. So, anyways, I was like, all right, got that done. Now I can come back to acting. And in my head, while I was doing all these years snowboarding, I'm thinking like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna get kind of we've got someone coming to the window. Oh,
Hello.
Oh, she looks lost.
Yeah, open the door. We'll give her a holler.
Oh, she's gone. Bye. Join the pod. We're saving the space for her. Yeah. So while I was snowboarding,
Sorry to interrupt. 1 moment. So Patty is here shooting a documentary on a couple of these young athletes or whatever, and they're gonna come by my spot. So I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. So while I was snowboarding, in my head, I'm like, you know what? Like, if I make it as a professional snowboarder and get kind of this presence from snowboarding, I'm going to come to LA and all these doors are just going to open for me. Like, I don't have to go through the whole rigmarole that the other 100,000 people that move to LA every year have to do. Like, I'm going to come in, I'm going to manager off the bat. Like, they're going to just put me on these shows. And so it's like, yeah, I'm getting the shortcut. Like, this is going to be my shortcut. Well, it was a shortcut that I spent 14 years doing. So I don't know how much of a shortcut it really was because, yeah, over 14 years, I was like, okay, I guess I, didn't save much time, but I came to LA and things didn't happen how I thought they would happen. I'm like, oh, I'm still having to grind like from the ground up. But yeah, now I'm trying to get back into acting, stunt work, personality on air. I'm open to all that, and it's interesting because like for all the years I was snowboarding, I had a direct path of like what I needed to do. I was like, to qualify for the Olympics, I must go to this competition and this competition. Before those competitions, I must go to this training camp. Then I go to this training camp. It was like, I didn't make any decisions like for the 10 years of training for the Olympics, even the 14 years, we'll say 10 years. Cause it was like, once I got the Olympic school, it was like, there were no choices I made in life. It was just, I must do this, then I must do this, then I must do this. And then after the Olympics, all of a sudden, like, I was like, wait, what do I do? I'm like, oh, I want to do this thing and I want to do this thing, but like, what's the path? What's the like step 1, step 2? Like, oh, but I could do that, and all of a sudden that's when I realized like, wait, I haven't had to make an actual decision for my plans in 10 years. It was always just laid out of what I needed to do. And now there's this freedom, and it's kind of overwhelming and kind of scary because there's so many different things that I want to do, and I'm just like, I don't know where to go now.
It's funny you described that because I'm jealous of that 10 years of no decision making because it's such a clear path. Because I've been living the opposite where you're currently at for my entire experience. I went to film school and then hit the ground running, just doing this, that, and the other, and just like analysis trials. There's so much to do and so many opportunities, and I went for all of them. I would love to have said that I picked this one path and just now I'm this superstar, but I didn't. I wanted to wear all the hats, and it's easy to get caught up in it and judge it and think it was the wrong way to do it. But now I look back and I can see all these hats that I've been wearing allow me to come to an event like X Games, execute the way I do at such a level, and it really informs the person and character that I am now. And so I would assume even for you, moving into this personality and this lovely acting career, the last 14 years are going to make you that fantastically rounded individual.
Yeah, well,
the superstar.
And I like what you said too about all the different hats. Like, you don't really know which one to go, and then it ends up
a hat with rhinestones.
This is my first day ever wearing this. I bought this, and I've been waiting for the moment to wear it. I'm like, I'm at Xchella today.
It was for my show.
It was just for the show. But I just thought, I'm like, this hat's gonna be looking real good in front of an American flag. Like, this is the look. But yeah, because it is it's paralyzing thinking, well, do I go this way or this way? Because like, what if I go this way and I was meant to do this other thing and now I've wasted this time? So to hear like whichever direction you do go, it's all gonna add up and like still have value, because I've really been scared of taking the first step in any direction because I worry that it's like the wrong direction and so it's like I'm like it's that paralysis. So I can't do anything because
I've had a lifetime of just jumping in head first, and my mom is just so over it. I'm 36 years old, and I'm still jumping in head first to all these wonderful opportunities that I see them as. But I write in my journal every day when I'm a little more active with that is it's everything's always working out for me, even when I don't understand it. And so when you think you're making a wrong decision that's cutting something short or closing this door, another door is opening, and then I think that's just life, that when you get to turn around and look back, you go, oh shit, every one of those directions was the right direction, and whatever path you're on is appropriate. And sometimes it can be a little hairy.
Yeah. That's such a good outlook. I really like that. Yeah, I almost like just everything you just said, I need to write down and just like read and remind myself of every day.
I tell myself that every day. Yeah.
I just,
it's wild.
yeah.
And what brings us to hear and hearing what you're doing, that's so exciting. And to get to the level of Olympics, you got to have that same, fuck it attitude too, and just going for it. That's incredible.
I mean, I always say like, I don't consider myself like a natural born athlete. Like there's some people who are like just very athletic and like they have this like innate thing. There's this like, some people, it's like there's hard work and there's like your natural athleticism, and it all has to add up to so much. So like there's really great natural athletes who don't put in very much work, and they could be so much better if they put in the more work, but they're able to just use.
Very talented.
I feel like my natural, like, I can't run, man. I got a C- in PE. In 6th grade, I got C- in PE, dropped out of PE, never took it again. I was like, screw this. I'm not a runner. Like, I am not super physical. I'd like to sit at home and eat snacks and watch Netflix all day. But I say, like, I got to where I did with snowboarding in the Olympics because I'm so, like, I say stubborn. Other people will say dedicated. I think stubborn is funny. I'm like, I'm just so stubborn. I said I'm going to go to the Olympics, and then I didn't accept any other option. Like, every single roadblock came my way. I'm like, well, I have to go. Like, I have to go. Like, I'm going to suffer. I'm going to sacrifice. Like, I'm going to go out in terrible weather, a day where everybody else took the day off because the weather's so bad. I'm like, I have to go and catch up because these other girls I'm competing against have been doing this since they were 7 years old. I'm like, I have 10 years I need to make up. I got to go. And it was like full stubbornness of just like forcing myself. The 2018 Olympics, I missed that one by one spot. That one, 6 months before the games, I blew my knee out a couple weeks before an event, like full ACL tear. I did 6 months of training and competing with no ACL, fully out of like sheer force of will. I'm like, I have to do this. It got to the point, I'm gonna do a little acting here. If you're listening, you won't get like an audio description. It got to the point at the end of the season, I'm carrying my board walking to the chairlift, and I'm like going like this, like as I'm trying to walk to the chairlift, and I'm like, I have to go to the Olympics. And so like I'm like not able to walk, and I strap in and I'm like freaking go. And I was in pain every day. I was taking like, I take 4 ibuprofen in the morning, then around lunchtime 4 more just to get through the day of training. Like I'm like, and that taught me a lot about what I could actually physically handle. I was like, whoa, my limit is way farther than I ever thought it was. Now I know I've been through that, but like it was sheer force of will. I was like, I must go to the Olympics. There is no other option. I'm like, I will die before I don't make it to the Olympics. And
well, to think that even is an option to get to the Olympics, like if that is a real conversation that you can have, I can understand that level of intensity. Because fuck it, if it's potential, then go. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, obviously, you take the same outlook now into this new foray of life.
Yeah.
I think you're going to do just fine. What's the first show we're going to see you on?
Oh, first show, man. What am I going to be on? I'm going to be on a new show. I'm going to have like a series regular of a new show that's like, it's going to be the next Modern Family. You know, it's going to run for like 12 seasons. I'm going to be making $1 million an episode.
That's my favorite show. I love that. What's it called? I'll be your number one fan.
It's called Modern Snowboarder.
Coming this fall, Modern Snowboarder.
80% of the time is doing social media, and then 20% I get a snowboard. That's life of modern snowboarder.
It's weird too, even when talking acting and film and TV and then Twitch, it's like the world of media as it stands is rapidly changing. And between cable companies they grouped it all together, and then now it's like, no, now it's these, the platforms, it's Hulu's, it's the Twitches, it's the Netflixes, and now they're getting bundled again, and it's like, we're going into this weird space where if you don't have your own way of creating your own medium, I don't know where you fall or end up. You got to just do it yourself.
Well, and what's interesting too is that like to make it as an actor, like you're saying, back when it was like cable television was the one place everybody watched their shows, you made it as an actor if you got on one of those cable shows, and like that's how you found your successful career. Now, I've actually heard some stats. I can't name the exact stats, but I've heard that like the new generations consume more like created content, like the YouTube and TikTok and Twitch. They watch more of that than they do of like the Netflix and
100%.
So you can actually get it's funny, like you can post a YouTube video that gets more views than like an episode of one of those Amazon produced shows, which is wild. And so being on one of those major network high production shows isn't actually necessarily going to give you a more successful career than like being a social media creator is. So now there's this thing of, I've been thinking about too, like, oh, I want to act, but like I got to fight against all these people to get a role. I get that one day, the co-star role, the day rate for SAG is like $1,000 and $1,100 or something like that now. But I'm like, I could make my own content, get a brand deal that pays me that for one Instagram, and I didn't have to fight against 5,000 other actors do that. Like, I can be in charge of that. I can secure that. I could make more money, have more views, have more success, and have things in my own hands by making my own content. Yeah. And so there's this like dichotomy of like,
well,
I still have to act.
I'd be curious your perspective, because I think for me, while I'm in pursuit of acting, it's the performing. Like, I enjoy that, and whatever it may be. And so I found my way to perform in so many different ways. Currently in this little trailer, behind a camera at events like this, in front of the camera, here, there, and everywhere. But like you say, I don't know if it was like a Theo Vaughn posted like a clip or something where he got just because he wanted to, because he's been acting and done all sorts of different things, but he auditioned for a show, got it, and then looked up what the schedule would be and then what they were paying him. And he goes, oh, I thought this was going to be fun, but like I make way more money doing like, half an hour in front of my camera in my office than I would make on your entire show.
Yeah.
So he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so I think the same for myself as I progress in any direction I do. I still love film. I went to film school. I've made films. I think acting is still the performance I enjoy, but I've allowed, as we wear all these different hats, the performance to kind of spill out into the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so as these things we're creating, these are our movies,
Yeah. It's really interesting because, this is the state of the industry, that this is like a fully new place that it's
West.
If you were going to be on a show, you made it. Like, you would never turn down the opportunity to, be in a series. Like, so it's interesting where things are at now and where they're going to go. And the industry as a whole, like, nobody knows. And that's where also that decision paralysis comes in, because there's not the surefire thing of how to make it in acting or how to be a star, how to have a successful career in Hollywood or in Atlanta. I don't know if there was ever a pipeline to successful career in Atlanta. It was always like Atlanta was maybe part of the move to Hollywood. That's the pipeline. But there used to be kind of a roadmap, and now we don't really know where things are going. And so how do you choose what to do?
How do you choose? Well, and it's interesting, going back to me jumping in head first into everything, even with this podcast, as I pursue it. I'm not familiar with Twitch, but I'm sure there's metrics and numbers that you can kind of ascertain how it's doing. You can, talk to your audience. You have immediate feedback from that. Previous social media experiences, Instagram, these things worked well for me, but now it's just so algorithms and all the things, whatever. But with this podcast, I don't know what the deal is, but you cannot track your metrics. I put it out on Spotify, and their platform and tools suck so bad, it's not accurate. But then the second it goes out on the RSS feed to all the other platforms, you can't track the numbers. And so I have no idea how my show's doing. I'm just doing it because I enjoy it. And I'm just going to keep at it because why not? But
yeah, I actually noticed that because I was interested in podcasting, but I couldn't understand it. I would see one podcast because I'd do someone's podcast and then I'd see it's like being put out on 40 different platforms. So I never really understood podcasts because I'm like, wait, there's not like one place that you get it. And so I didn't really understand. But yeah, I had looked up like old episodes of things I had filmed and I'm like, wait, it's on this site, but then it's on this site, but then it's on this site. And it's like, yeah, how do you track how all of these things are going?
You just got to trust the process, man. It's fun. It's interesting. As long as I'm having a good time, I think it's the right thing for me. But yeah, I have no idea. It'll make sense
Eventually.
Eventually.
That's like anything, right? You just like, everybody is kind of lost and just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall or whatever, like in the beginning. And like, as you keep going, things start to make sense and things work out. But yeah, if you don't just jump in blind, yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I'm so grateful for you coming on my show today and teaching me. That's a big thing about what my experience is learning from guests and all the places I go. And so I value your time, but I will let you get, what's the next competition you're going to?
Men's Street Final.
Men's Street Final.
The big one. Nija's competing. Braden Hoban, he was the #1 qualifier, and he did really good. And he's a skater I hadn't really heard of much before, but he was good, so.
To play.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get over that together. This is the time of the show that you get to bring attention to whatever you want, like, subscribe, whatever platform or whatever.
Yeah.
That camera?
Cool. All the cameras.
All the cameras, hey.
Any social media platform, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, X, Threads, I don't know, all of them, at Jenise Spiteri, JenisSespiteri. I'm on everything. If you forget that, can't figure out how to spell Jenise, Google Maltese snowboarder.
Flag girl.
You'll find, I mean, you can just pick like 3 descriptive words, like snowboarder, Malta, actor, I don't know, Jenise. Is spelled Jenise any sort of wrong way, I'm like, I'll probably pop up.
Awesome. Well, check her out, and thanks for checking our show out, and I'm excited for whoever's on next. But like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. I have no idea. Send me a DM. Let me know if the show sucks. And until next time, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. That's it. What do you think?
Did green mean recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I looked down at one point, I was like, oh god, I hope green isn't just me.